Hello, my dear educators. This is Meenakshi Narula, and I welcome you to my channel, Mentoring the Mentors. My dear educators, transform your evening tea time into a learning experience with Mentoring the Mentors. Every day at 4 p.m., you will be having some learning nuggets, like short nuggets, short videos that are going to enhance your teaching learning experience. Yes, they are going to enhance your knowledge. And in today's video, we are going to talk about 17 types of assessment. Before you explore the different kinds of assessment, I would like to request for your support. Like, subscribe, and share the content. Do recommend my content in your teaching groups as well. So, my dear educators, here you go 17 different types of assessment. Even if you are an educator, you are a student, you are a teacher trainer, even you are a student, right, appearing for BEd exam, you all should aware of what are the different kinds of assessment, right? In this video we are going to talk about the 17 different kinds of assessment. Here you go on your screen. On the screen, first one is formative assessment, that you all know, and we have been talking a lot about this, and I even will be sharing detailed videos about formative assessment, though many are already available on my channel. We will be talking about a variety of techniques to conduct the formative assessment, where we talk about assessment as learning, of learning, for learning. They are a part of formative assessment, right? And the next one will be talking about summative assessment, norm reference and criteria reference assessment, diagnostic assessment, internal and external assessment, formal and informal assessment, process and product assessment, objective and subjective assessment, continuous and terminal assessment, competency-based assessment, and holistic three-degree assessment that we all been talking about nowadays. So let's, my dear educators, get set go and talk about these 17 types of assessment, right? As you can see here, first of all is formative assessment. It's an ongoing assessment conducted during the learning process so that we can monitor the progress and we are able to provide the feedback for the further improvement. And the purpose is to help the students identify their strengths, the areas of improvement, grow and glow areas, and even to guide the teachers in adjusting their instructional strategies. It is continuous, it is informal, it is low stakes, it is diagnostic, and is feedback oriented. For example, classroom quizzes, observation, peer review, and even homework checklist. These are the different kinds of formative assessment. I will be sharing with you a detailed video separately also on formative assessment, though many are already available too with various kinds of strategies. You should master how to conduct formative assessment. Now, my dear educators, next one is summative assessment. And if you talk about what does it mean by a summative assessment, it is being conducted at the end of a learning period. It can be after every quarter, it can be midterm, annual examination, or maybe after completion of a particular chapter, topic, or a course. Like at the end of a learning period, to evaluate the overall achievement, like what kind of achievement has been got by a particular child, and we also determine the extent to which the learning objectives have been met. I mean, we pass the judgment, we get to know whether the child has achieved the desired learning outcomes or not. The child is at the beginner, intermediate, or at advanced level. Now, if we talk about the purpose, obviously to assess the cumulative learning, when at various stages we conduct the formative assessment, but at the end we would like to cumulate the learning experience and we assign grades or maybe certifications, marks, percentage to the children. And it is formal in nature, it is high stakes because the numbers are assigned to it, it is final, right? It's not kind of ongoing, and it is evaluative in nature. If we talk about a few examples, the final exams that they are going on right now, the end term exams, right, the term projects, the standardized test, and even the CBSE like board exams, the state board exams, or maybe other exams that they are going on nowadays. So, summative assessment. So, by now you are clear what is formative assessment, what is summative assessment. Now, let's move ahead. Let's talk about the norm reference assessment. It means comparing a student's performance to a larger group. usually at the national level, at the regional level, at the international level. When we go ahead with any kind of olympiads where we want to rank the students, we want to determine their standard standing, where do they stand in the larger group, right? Basically, most of the tests, they are competitive, they are standardized, they are percentile based. For example, the children, they are appearing in sat, cat, clat, JEE, NEET, many other assessments, like such kinds of assessment. They are the norm referenced assessments, right? So, my dear educators, now let's talk about the criteria referenced assessment. Its meaning is it measures the student's performance against a fixed set of predetermined criteria or the learning objectives. And the purpose is to determine whether a student has achieved the desired specific outcomes or not. So, we want to check the mastery. So, it is mastery oriented, it is objective, and they are the standards based tests. For example, the exams that the students, they are appearing right now, nowadays, teacher made tests, they are there, CBSE board exams. And when we have certain tests, they are aligned with the curricular goals, right? They are the criteria referenced assessment. Now going ahead with diagnostic assessment, as in when I suppose have any issue with my health, I go for certain tests and the doctor diagnoses what is the reason, what is the cause behind. Maybe I'm having a fever, whether it is viral fever, whether it is a normal change in weather, or so the doctor diagnoses, right? So the diagnosis assessment, right, diagnostic assessment, it is conducted before any kind of instruction to identify students' prior knowledge, learning difficulties, and the readiness of the child for the next chapter, for the next topic, or the content that we are going to teach in the class. Right? We want to see where the child lies, as before any test, any teaching, any content that we are going to deliver in the class, we go ahead with previous knowledge testing, right? So the purpose is to diagnose the learning gaps so that the teacher gets to know from where to start, from where to begin, right? And even inform personalized instructions too. So it is pre-instructional, it is individualized, its nature is prospective. So if we talk about few examples, the pre-test, as and when even we go for any kind of training. For example, recently I've attended 10 days NCRT Nishta training, right? So for that, first of all, we appeared for a pre-test. They checked what is our pre-knowledge for this training that we are going to have for 10 days. And after completion of 10 days, that is 100 hours of learning, they again gave us the same test and they checked what is the level of learning right now, right? So, which is done previous to teaching any kind of training. They are known as pre-test. They are also called the baseline assessment test, maybe the learning style inventories, whether which to which group the child belongs, what is the learning style of the child. We want to diagnose something, right? Now let's move ahead to the next level, internal assessment. Now the students, they have appeared for different exams, right? For 10th and for 12th standard, who have sent the internal assessment to. Maybe for 12th standard, you have sent the grades for journal studies, for work, for work education, for HPE, for the 12th standard, right? And if you talk about for 10th standard, for every subject, you have sent the internal assessment to the students, right? For every subject, like for example, the languages, the sciences, the social sciences, for every subject you have sent 20 marks assessment. For computers, for AI, it was a 50% theory and 50% practical. I mean, there was some internal assessment that has been sent by you all, right? So it is conducted within the school by the school teachers as a part of the regular curriculum, or maybe as per the guidelines of the CPSE or any kind of board with which the school is affiliated to. And the purpose is to provide the continuous feedback to contribute to the final grades. Why it is continuous? You know very well, for the internal assessment, if it is 20 marks, right, how we have made it 25 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. If you want to know the detail, you can check my that video where I have talked about subject enrichment activities. We talk about multiple assessment and how to go ahead with the grades, right? It is school based, it is teacher administrated, or it can be formative or summative. Because if we talk about SEA, it is more of formative. If we talk about MA, it is somewhere it is summative too, right? Examples are class test, assignment, project work, practical exams, etc. This is internal assessment. Now, if I go ahead with external assessment, it is administered by some external body or agency to ensure standardization. Like the 10th standard exams, the 12th standard exams, they are the external exams because we want to maintain the consistency, the fairness, the comparability across the schools, right? It is standardized, it is formative, and it is summative in nature. It is formal, right? Standardized है, formal होता है, ये informal नहीं होता है, and it is summative, right? And for example, the board exams, the national and the state level competitions, etc., they all are the external assessments. They are not organized by a particular school within the school boundaries, but they are organized by the bodies, right? Now, external bodies, right? Now, come to informal assessment. One is informal, another is formal. Informal, when we do not even assign the date sheet, we do not declare when we are going to have the assessment, right? The students, they need not to be prepared or informed well in advance about the assessment. That's informal, that's casual assessment. Because it is informal, so it is unstructured also, because everybody has his or her own way of assessment. The spontaneous methods used during classroom activities to gauge the learning process. Maybe as a teacher, I am assessing my students, I'm tracking whether they are achieving those desired learning outcomes or not. Where are they right now? I can have some quizzes, I can have some exit tickets in the class, and I will be able to provide the immediate feedback and support, and even the individualized instruction as well. If I see a particular child not doing well, I can scaffold that child accordingly. If I see a particular child doing well, I even can provide more challenging worksheet to that child. So that's a kind of informal assessment. It is unplanned, it is unstructured, it's flexible, qualitative, and low stake. Wherever the numbers are assigned, that assignments are of high stake assessment. Where the numbers are not assigned, it is unstructured, it is casual, informal, they are the low stake assessments. Examples: the classroom observations, the discussions, and even the normal questioning, which is happening, it's kind of interviews, etc. That all comes under informal assessment. Now, formal assessment, on the other hand, contrary to informal assessment, it is structured, while the previous one was unstructured. It is standardized, right? So we want to assess, we want to evaluate the learning outcome, and we want to measure the academic performance, and even we provide the documented results, the report cards. It can be numbers, grades, HPC, etc. Right? Because it is structured, so it is planned, it has certain objectives, it is documented, it is evaluative, right? For example, all the written exams, the standardized test, the report cards, they are the examples of formal assessments. Now you are clear about informal and formal assessment. Now let's talk about continuous and terminal assessment. Continuous, that keeps on going, right? Ongoing assessment conducted throughout the academic year, because we want to monitor the students' performance. Because we conduct it throughout the year, so we provide regular feedback. We don't want to create any kind of stress because it is continuous. It keeps on happening, right? And students become used to. And the objective is to provide the holistic development to the learners. It is continuous, it is comprehensive, it is formative, it is low stakes. It is continuous because it's happening number of times, right? And for example, the class tests, the various assignments given to the students, the projects, the portfolios, etc. So on the Other hand, the terminal assessment, it is conducted at the end of an academic term, maybe wherever the semester system is there at the end of the semester, or maybe the year, to evaluate the cumulative learning. And we would like to determine the final grades and assess the overall development of the learners. Terminal assessment, it is summative, it is final, the numbers are associated with, the grades are associated with it, so it is high stakes too. For example, the final exams, the term and projects that we submit, even the thesis when we submit, the research projects that we submit, the annual assessments, they are there. So they are the terminal assessments, high stakes assessment. Coming to objective and subjective assessment. Objective assessments, as you know very well, the MCQs, the fill in the blanks, true, false, all these kinds of tests based on the questions with clear, definitive answered, right? They are known as the objective assessments, where there is no room of, uh, you see, our own vision, creativity, because they are the closed answer questions, right? So they are qualitative, depending upon what kind of question we have framed. Basically, we check the memorization of the student, factual, standardized test. So we want to ensure the consistency, reliability, fairness. So that's why such kinds of assessments they are given. If we talk about the subjective assessment, it is based on the questions that require students to express their ideas, their opinions, their reasoning. For example, essay type questions, short answer, descriptive questions, case studies, etc. Right? They are more of qualitative in nature, interpretative, open-ended, right? Where objective, they are closed-ended. They were Objective was quantitative, subjective is qualitative, right? And we assess the higher order thinking skills, how the child analyzes, how the child evaluates and creates and thinks critically, right? So these kinds of higher order thinking skills, they are assessed during subjective assessments. Case based questions, they are given to the students. Application based, value oriented questions, they are given to the students, right? Now let's talk about the process and product based assessment, right? Process means what kind of strategies they are being used by the students, the problem solving techniques used by the students, whether the child worked individually or the child worked in a group, or the child has conducted a survey, the child has experimented something, what was the base, how the child did it. I mean, we focus on process, and it is more of formative and qualitative in nature. We check the quality, the how the child has done that particular work. So we assess critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration, such kinds of skills, they are being tested. So it focuses on evaluating the methods and the approaches used by the students during learning activities. So that is the process assessment. Now coming to the product, end product, right? The final product. Like for example, any project has been submitted by the child. So that is the product assessment, evaluates the final outcome or the product done by the student. It assesses the quality, the accuracy, the completeness, right? So it is outcome focused. It is not process focused. It is summative. It is quantitative or qualitative. Essays, projects, models, presentations, the final presentation, the final model, the project made by the child. We do not focus on how the same has been done, what was the process involved. We focus just on the final product. So now let's talk about C&C, means continuous and comprehensive assessment, right? As the name defines, continuous and comprehensive. It's a kind of CCE approach, right? And the holistic approach that assesses all the aspects of the student's development, cognitive, affective, psychomotor, throughout the year. That's why it's comprehensive and continuous, right? The purpose is to promote all-round development and reduce the stress. As and when any test is being conducted throughout the year, and it is somehow informal in nature, right? So that reduces the stress. It is continuous, it is comprehensive, it is formative, or it can be summative too. For example, the classroom assessments, the projects, the co-curricular activities, the life skills evaluation, maybe the art integrated projects, the subject integrated activities, the multiple assessments that we have in our classes, right? So such kinds of presentation, assembly presentation, etc., Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat, Bhasha Sangam, such kinds of projects that they are being conducted, that come under continuous and comprehensive assessment. I would like to even mention any kind of days we celebrate, like for example, Maths Week, Science Day we celebrate, right? Maybe English Week we celebrate, Hindi Reverse Sanskrit Day. I mean, such kinds of days when we celebrate the special days and we give opportunities to our students to come forward to share their learning. That comes under continuous and comprehensive assessment. Now, coming to the competency based assessment, I will be creating a separate video on this, though already one video has been created, has been watched by many of you, right? Thank you for watching that. I will be sharing more details on competency based assessment, right? Competency based assessment evaluates the student's ability to apply knowledge, skill, and attitude, right? As I've already shared with you, what is competency? Knowledge, skill, and attitude together makes a competency. How the child is using that in the real life situations, that is child's competency. Unlike traditional assessments, I mean, that focus basically on rote learning, memorization, right? CBA emphasizes mastering specific competencies aligned with the real world tasks and the learning outcomes, right? And holistic assessment, here also I'll be talking about the same in a separate video. It is also known as 360-degree assessment. It is comprehensive evaluation, right? So it's an approach which assesses students learning and development across cognitive, affective, psychomotor domains, CAP. It also involves gathering feedback from multiple stakeholders, from the teachers, from the peer group, from the students themselves. That is, self-reflection also comes under that, right? And providing a well-rounded view of the students' progress and abilities. HPC by Parak, by CBSE, and by other state bodies, as recommended by NEP 2020. For that, we have started with holistic assessment, right? That they are the samples of holistic assessment. Holistic progress card is there. So HPC, that also many videos are there. You have been watching my videos. Thank you everybody for watching the videos that I have been sharing on my channel. And again, I would like to request all of you, do share with me the topics that you would like me to cover in these videos. Any kind of suggestions will be welcomed. Thank you. Stay tuned. Like, subscribe, and share my channel. Do recommend my channel in your community too. Thank you. Have a nice day.